today on CityCast Madison. A call to action. How does a more connected Madison across political, cultural, and generational differences sound to you? A current UW-Madison artist-in-residence, Marlon F. Hall, has started a movement that uses the classic dinner party model as a vehicle for social change. The Mosaic dinner party movement brings together diverse community members to reconnect to their own and shared humanity via a structured community meal. And Marlon wants you plus 249 other Wisconsin households to join up. We sat down with Marlon to learn more about his efforts. It's Wednesday, April 3rd. I'm Bianca Martin, and here's what Madison's talking about. Marlon, hello.
Hello.
So, what is the Mosaic dinner movement?
The Mosaic dinner movement is an evolution of a practice of convening a cognitively and culturally diverse group of people. No one person does the same thing for a living, but the only rule is that you cannot talk about what you do for a living, only who you are for a life. A practice that I activated about 8 years ago out of a place of pain and loss. I have found purpose and passion to bring people together to the first institution known to man, the meal, to tap into the next intuition for human evolution, which is story. I feel like story is a palm that holds people, it holds a culture. Story is also fingertips that shape a people. And so the very first institution, the meal, is a beautiful palm and space of shaping culture, one meal, one story, one conversation after the next. And so was able to collaborate with the Dane County Food Collective to bring my practice, a practice that is, believe it or not, as of last week, 93 dinners old.
Oh my gosh, that's thick. That's a big number.
Yo, it's crazy. It's wild. I've had more dinners than I've had years on Earth, and I've learned so much by bringing people together, not to talk about what they do, because we do so much until life becomes doo-doo.
And then you need to have a dinner and feel connected.
To process the doo-doo to make it what fertilizes your future. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a sacred, beautiful, bountiful human space for me and for the people that I've invited to the table. And so that's what the Mosaic dinner movement is. It's me collaborating with the Dane County Food Collective to take the practice that I've activated before I got to Madison to become the interdisciplinary artist in residence, University of Wisconsin, into what's next here in Madison. And I hope that it will spread.
Yes. And that artist in residence is really one of the coolest programs. I've always really looked forward to whoever they bring in. They're always the dopest person.
Aww.
So, and you included. And it's how I heard about what you're doing is through this class that you teach. Mm-hmm. And you're using this framework. How's that going?
Oh, it's going so well. Every class features a culinary artist in residence, cultivated by Feed Kitchens, which is a nonprofit in town that creates a space for primarily immigrants and people who are on the fringe who want to start businesses, restaurants. So a culinary artist in residence comes to prepare a meal that tastes like their cultural story. A musical artist in residence, harvested from Coda, Hannah John Taylor, has put together a list of amazing local musicians who come and share their story without words through music. And then we invite a citizen to come to every class to bring a pocket-sized artifact that represents their personal or cultural heritage. And so students have an opportunity around a meal to learn from these people their stories. And it's so beautiful to hear a person share a story in music during the dinner that is in alignment with the person who shares a story with the meal that just so happens to be in alignment with the person who shares a story with an artifact. Never planned, but yet there is a thread woven into the fabric of all of our stories that brings us together when we share them vulnerably. And we discover that one class after the next.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm really loving this idea of the original spaces, the meal and storytelling.
It's first. And really most future endeavors that are heart-centered will always be inspired by the past. It's an ancient future. You know what I mean? And so the work of the dinner parties that I've been doing all over the world now has not been to create something new, but to create something ancient future, a new possibility from something old. Bianca, can I acknowledge your capacity to make a person feel unnaturally energized? And boy, if we could just tap in to the spirit of you, I think that everything would be different. Thank you so much for who you are. Your energy is amazing, man.
Marlon, thank you for making the space to do that and recognize my energy. And you are accurately assessing that I am very energized by what you're doing.
I love it.
Yeah, no, I truly am. And you had me at Amnesia Salon. I saw it when I was reading about what you're doing. You are throwing amnesia salons. That's what these dinners are. And can I ask, is that a throwback to the past, to the things that we've forgotten that we're coming together?
Well, first of all, can I tell you a story?
Please.
So I was doing the work of my life. I was commissioned by the city of Houston, Mayor Anise Parker, to do a visual anthropological series featuring the stories of Houstonians whose lives told a better story to the city, about the city, one folkloric person at a time. It's called Folklore Films. So I was in the midst of it, and I was doing a lot of good work, but I was doo-dooing in my marriage. My marriage turned to crap because of the excessive work that I was doing. And my then wife called out of the silence of the phone call. She said, "You've become more than we imagined. You're no longer the man I married, and I want a divorce." And it was a liberation. She set me free. But also, I was alone and sorrowful and sad in a loft that I rented, and I decided to invite some friends of mine to come over to my house to help me make a table out of reclaimed wood from my big mama's house in Homer, Louisiana. And at that table, I invited the 16 subjects of the film series that at the time cost me my marriage in my mind. But really, they invested in my future. And each of them were culturally diverse. Nobody shared the same cultural story. All of them were cognitively diverse. Nobody did the same thing for a living. And Bianca, within the first 15 minutes of that dinner, people were reduced to the least common denomination of their humanity. They woke up to being human. They remembered their humanity. And so when I talk about memory and amnesia therapy, I not only talk about the recalling of facts and data, like to remember who you are based on when you were born or where you were born. I'm also talking about the remembering of the mind to the body and the body to the soul that gets dismembered through the trauma of our everyday lives, like divorce, like shame, like sorrow, like pain. And so we get hit by our everyday traumas in life, and it dismembers the mind from the body, and we don't feel connected to the body, or it dismembers the body from the soul, the gut, and we don't feel connected to the soul. And so my dinners are designed to not just recall facts and data about who you are, but to recall the human essence of being back to itself through the alignment of the body, the mind, and the gut.
All right, science heads, are you curious about the unknown? Gear up, because it's time for the 2024 UW-Madison Science Expeditions Campus Open House. From April 5th through 7th, go explore the campus-wide extravaganza across 6 campus locations at one of the best research universities in the world. You'll interact with UW researchers, visit science venues, see science spectacular shows, and get hands-on at exploration stations set up from dozens of UW research groups. From the far reaches of our galaxy with astronomy to zoology examining microbes, UW-Madison Science Expeditions has it all. And all events are free and open to the public. So go get your wonder on. Go check out a complete schedule of events at science.wisc.edu.
This episode is brought to you by ShipStation. If you run an e-commerce business, you know how much work it takes to produce something great while dealing with complicated shipping issues. That's why over 130,000 companies have turned to ShipStation, an innovative tool that allows you to focus less on shipping and more on building your brand. With ShipStation, you can manage orders, label printing, reporting, and customer service on one easy-to-use dashboard. You'll reduce warehouse costs with reliable enterprise solutions and save thousands on shipping costs with discounts up to 89% off. Plus, you can effortlessly import orders from everywhere you sell online. So, turn your shipping challenges into opportunities for growth. Go to ShipStation.com and use code POD to sign up for your free 60-day trial. That's ShipStation.com, code POD.
Well, I saw this video, a snapshot of one of your salons, and I felt the intentionality and the space that you were bringing. And all I could feel like was I wanted to be a part of that group.
Well, guess what? You can.
Okay.
You can.
You can. Let's get to it, because you have a call out to Wisconsinites, a challenge or an opportunity really for folks to engage in the movement. Can you tell us about that call that you started to talk about, that you're in partnership with some local spaces?
Yeah, there are a bunch of community partners: Dane County Food Collective, Reap Madison, Coda, Feed Kitchens, Faisal Abdu Allah, who is the associate dean who invited me. And we are inviting 250 homes in Wisconsin to host one of these amnesia salon dinners that we're shaping as the Mosaic dinner series. There are 3 different movements in each dinner that are super accessible and easy for you to activate. You could bring whatever food you want to bring. We ask that you bring some food that represents a story of who you are. Invite people to your home. It could be as few as 2 people, as many as your home can hold. People who are culturally and cognitively diverse. And there is a deck that we give you that you can use to navigate the journey of the dinner. That's really easy and super expressive. And so 250 homes is what we're trying to get folks to activate to do this dinner. And so what happens at the end of the day when 250 homes have this dinner? The world changes, inspired by the Wisconsin idea that a whisper in a corner of a room can turn into a symphony of transformation all over the world. And so we're asking you to whisper through a willful expression of bringing people who are in your database, in your context, who are different together, to make a difference through something so simple as a meal.
Yeah. So people from different jobs, different ancestry, different political beliefs, that sort of thing, bringing people together and reminding each other of our shared humanity, it sounds like.
Through story. That's exactly right. Dang, I wish I could have written that down. Yeah, you nailed it. That's exactly right. And the beauty of it is that people say, well, what makes you unique as a contributor to this? Some of you may or may not know, because you can see me, I'm Black. And as a person who is on the fringe of privilege, I have a unique vantage point from which I see ancestral wealth. White privilege, white supremacy has led us to a place culturally, emotionally, spiritually, even financially, where we are experiencing a deficit in culture. And why is that? Well, because everybody has an ancestral wealth to bring to the table of what's next in our humanity. And if everybody doesn't have a place at the table to bring their ancestral wealth, then we won't have all that we need to bring about the change that we want for future generations. So no matter where you're from or who your people are, we all have a cloud of witnesses that travel with us that affirm our good, that we must bring to the table to bring about transformation in the world. And if we just depend on one particular culture as a dominant culture to lead it, we're always going to come up short. And that's why we are coming up short now. We will only be rich and bountiful and beautiful as a people, as human beings, when we provide a space for everybody to bring their ancestral witness to invest in the future of the world.
Yeah. And I love it. So just so folks are clear, you are doing this class where you're inviting this diverse array of folks from different backgrounds, like you're talking about. And you're also inviting you who are listening right now to throw your own amnesia salon. And you guys have rules and that's, do you have it like written down for folks so they can access? Yeah.
Yes, there is a social media page called, and please go to it, the Mosaic Dinner Series. And you click in the bio will take you to a deck. The deck is like a 7-page deck, a series of images that guides you through the journey. Very easy to do. Actually, to take a couple of pictures before and after the dinner. And the dinner ends with a 4-word story that we invite all of the dinners to write to the future of the world. And at the end of this experience, we're going to write one long story to the future of the world. I'm going to get on a megaphone in a sacred site, and read this story into the cosmos.
Because I saw another component is that folks are asked to take photos and send in their experience and send photos. And I was curious what you were going to do with that with material.
Yes. My first practice is that of an anthropologist. Anthropology inspires all of my artwork, be it large-scale photography, like the work I'm doing in Tulsa, Oklahoma, to the films that I make that are visual poetry that tells the stories of people, heartbeat first. All of it is connected to this desire to approach my art practice as a social science. And so first and foremost, all of the pictures and all of the stories that people write will become anecdotal data that I use to better assess how to fine-tune this practice of bringing people together around meals. And then also, I use that data to share them with local institutions. So local nonprofits that want to better understand how to serve the community, they'll take these pictures, they'll take the 4-word stories, and they'll use them as anecdotal data that they can use to better understand who the people are at their core, you know? So that's what that's used for. Also, we're going to have a dinner, and this dinner, we're asking that everybody come together on May 5th to have a dinner. So you can have the dinner whenever you want, but we're trying to concentrate the effort on May 5th for everyone in Wisconsin to do a Mosaic salon dinner, right? That's inspired by my amnesia therapy dinners.
So in their own homes?
In your own home.
Okay, but the same time?
Same night. Let's create like this collective consciousness of human, one meal at a time all over the state.
Ooh.
May the 5th, come do it with us. Like, let's change the world one meal at a time. And don't be intimidated. You know, people look at the pictures and see the videos of me navigating the dinners. And yeah, it is my practice. And yeah, I have 92 of these things under my belt. But anyone can do it. And you can only do it in your way. And we're asking you to do it your way.
I mean, now I feel really excited because I want a reason to throw a dinner party, and then to have this sort of intentionality and framework that you have set up, and to know that it's been something that you've been building on for the past 8 years is really a beautiful thing.
It's a gift.
And, you know, I am fascinated by something I noticed. The table that you used for the class, it had a door in the middle of it. Yeah, which is part of the artwork, which is, you know, I assume it's opening the door into people's stories.
That's a beautiful assumption. Yeah, that table is the exact design of tables I make all over the world with native wood and an archival door from the cultural context. And yeah, you're right. Traditionally, tables are seen as horizontal surfaces on which we eat. I see tables through my practice as vertical portals through which we travel into other people's humanity through their stories, back into ours as we listen. So my class is not rooted in storytelling. My class is about story listening, because listening is a portal through which our marriages, our relationships, our communities, our neighborhoods, our blocks can be transformed. What's a storyteller without a story listener? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I'm really curious because you have, you know, you mentioned your time in Houston. You have been doing this in other cities. And I'm curious, what, if anything, has stood out to you about Madison and the community that is here and the dinners that you're having? Do you have any anecdotes or experiences that really stand out?
Man, there is a sense of liberalism that is like 1,000 miles wide and 1 inch deep. People love talking about how liberal they are, but boy, they sure don't like it when I cross the street and they got to stop. You know, it'd be Black Lives Matter stickers on their back bumper, but they don't want to stop for a brother to cross the street like everybody else. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
No, but that is an experience that I've had personally. And also, as I begin to invite people who aren't white literally to the table, I'm often told that while Madison, in theory, is a space where people are open-minded, they may be open-minded but closed-hearted. And so I feel like the salon dinner parties, the Mosaic dinner parties, are a way to move people out of their heads when it comes to social justice and into their bodies, and from their bodies into their guts. And so I think there's a misalignment a little bit in the social justice realm or the human-centric realm in Madison that just requires some alignment. All of the values are in the order, but they're just a little out of order. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You've touched the pulse of certainly what I have felt and many,
Oh, really?
People of color in Madison, where there's a lot of talk, but do people embody it? Do you walk being in community with people of color?
That's right.
Yeah, this is such a beautiful opportunity for folks to do just that.
That's
and
right.
to share bread, literally.
To share bread.
Well, Marlon, it has been the utmost pleasure to listen to you and all of your wisdom and to learn about this effort. And now I'm definitely going to be a part of it in some way, for sure. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome so much, and thank you for inviting me. I appreciate you guys so much.
That's Marlon F. Hall, creator of the Mosaic Dinner Party movement and current artist in residence at UW-Madison. If you want to take part and throw your own Mosaic dinner party, head to our show notes for a link with more information. That's all for today here on CityCast Madison. I'm Bianca Martin. If you enjoyed the show, why not share this episode with your favorite storyteller? We'll be back tomorrow morning with more stories from around the city. Ciao.